All right, residual state sovereignty was also implicit, of course, in the Constitution's conferral upon Congress. Now we're getting into some big heavy stuff here, okay? Remember, it's in the little booklet you have in your hand. This quote is in there. It's from the United States Supreme Court. Came out June 27, 1997. Congress does not have all governmental powers. What kind do they have? But only discrete enumerated ones. What? This is from the United States Supreme Court saying that the federal government does not have all governmental powers. Do you know what? I looked in my Constitution as I was flying up here, so I know Kathy would want me to, and I looked again after I landed, and I looked again while I was riding in the car with Sam and Kurt. I studied Section 3, or Article 3, sorry, and that's where it talks about the judicial power of the United States. And do you know that it does not use the word or even come close to saying that the judicial power of the United States is that the federal judicial branch will interpret the law for all of us? Because we're just too stupid. We can't figure out what it means when it says shall not be infringed. You see, we need that interpreted for us. Shall not be infringed. Ivan, do you need that interpreted? So, somebody explain that to Ivan, would you? No, there is no power of the federal judicial branch to interpret the law. What are they supposed to do? Well, let me see. What was the same oath, Kurt? What was the same oath? What was the oath you took? To what? Okay. The judges took the same oath, didn't they? What are they supposed to do?
Defend your life, liberty, and property.
Enforce the U.S. Constitution. Defend life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, or the ownership of property, as described in the Declaration of Independence. How do we know what government is for? It's the next line in the Declaration of Independence. That to secure these rights, which rights?
Our rights.
Well, life, liberty, and property, and pursuit of happiness. Okay, we get that. Okay, we get it. We get it, right? What is government supposed to do? Protect life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That's all they're supposed to do. That's it. They don't get anything else. If they're outside that, they're breaking the law. And you don't want them, and you don't need them. So now this paragraph right here is going to give you the ammunition you need to take care of the issues that we came here to talk about. I don't care if it's Obamacare. I don't care if it's states' rights and state sovereignty in your state constitution, or the norms that we're trying to deal with that brought us here to one of the hot topics of the state of Utah right now. It's all in here. The federal government only has discrete enumerated powers. Very discrete and enumerated. As we were saying, Article 1, Section 8. Anything outside that, you go what? Which implication was rendered express. You're never going to see this anyplace else, folks. Those two words are astonishing. You remember all the congressmen that you've seen on YouTube that have said, we get to do whatever we want, the Constitution is flexible, it's livable and breathable, it just kind of goes with what's happening in society. Isn't that wonderful? The Founding Fathers were smart. There's no absolutes. That means absolute. Rendered express. And the only way that the enumerated powers and the impotence of the federal government is rendered express. How? By the 10th Amendment. My dear friends, that is more than monumental. Who's supposed to keep the federal government impotent? Off our backs and out of our lives and within Article 1, Section 8. Who's supposed to do that? Remember that question and the answer I told you to start loving and to formulate? Now, the question is, I want to ask it to every public official and every citizen in this room. Who constitutionally, lawfully, and state of Utah-wise is in charge lawfully of enforcing the 10th Amendment? The state of Utah, we the people, working with state officials and sheriffs and chiefs of police and county commissioners and school boards and Governor Herbert and state legislatures, that we do what? Where'd that go? This free DVD that you get, what is the title of it? It's called Erecting the Barriers. That's what every state and every state official and every county official are supposed to do. When we keep our oath, it makes it messy for politicians, especially in Washington, D.C. That's what it's supposed to do. And they're so offended that we could messy up the waters for them. What are you doing? Why are you getting in the way? We have the supremacy clause. We're the federal government. We have jurisdiction from Bangor, Maine to Honolulu. No, you don't. You don't have it here. You see, I'm the duly elected sheriff of Davis County. And I promised the people when I took this job that I would protect their God-given rights as established within the United States and Utah constitutions. And you're not going to violate that here. Not as long as I'm sheriff. Not on my watch. Wouldn't you love half of the 3,100 sheriffs in America to say that to the federal government when they come into your counties? What would happen? Okay. This paragraph is something you all should memorize. You should put the words rendered express in passion purple across your vision screen. Never forget it. Do not ever forget rendered express. Because it's only rendered express by you, working with city councils, county commissioners, sheriffs, state reps, governors. You working with them hand in hand, because this is our state and this country will not survive if we the people aren't involved in the process. This is the only country in world history where the most important part of government is we the people. You've got to get this. Then look at this. The 10th Amendment's assertion that all powers not delegated to the federal government or the United States by the Constitution or prohibited by the states are reserved to the states respectively to the people. You must understand that state sovereignty, as it is expressed within the Constitution and this decision, is enforced by us. And if we continue to bow down and kowtow to the propaganda scheme that's saying that the federal government can do whatever it wants, it's just a flat out lie. But we're doing it way too often. And we even think, seriously, part of that propaganda scheme is, we even think that their federal grants are free money. We do. I talk to chiefs and sheriffs about this all the time. And I've told them, it's immoral and unconstitutional for you to take money from the federal government. If you want to fund your agency, then do it right. Well, the money's there. We want to get our fair share. What would you say if the guy robbing the bank said the same thing? Come on, let's get real. Come on. Okay, remember, now you have this, you have that paragraph in your hand. You want some more? You want some more ammo? All right, you want some more evidence? Okay, we'll show you some more. The great innovation of this design was that our citizens would have two political capacities, one state and one federal. We all get that. Get the next line though. Each protected from incursion by the other. What? Each protected from incursion by the other. So if the federal government is committing incursions in Utah, who's supposed to stop it? All state, everybody living here from St. George to what's most north, Logan? Tremont, yes, okay, yeah, that's where you came from. All right, it's us. Wouldn't it be wonderful and wouldn't it make it a lot easier if we could work with state reps and our county commissioners and city councils in doing that, in erecting Erecting the barriers. Where does that line come from? Anybody know? Federalist Papers, James Madison. We can safely rely on the disposition of state legislatures to erect barriers against the encroachments of the national authority. Was this judge who nullified marriage in Utah federal? Then somebody ought to erect some barriers against him. How about the guy that said that the NSA can do whatever they want? If we knew they were going to do that, would we allow them to be in Utah? When they first came to build that big monstrosity here? You know what? Looks like we made a mistake there too, huh? All right, let's keep going. I want to show you more. There's more, and I want to get you out of here. Okay, now Madison, can you believe this? Scalia quotes the Founding Fathers in a Supreme Court decision. He quotes the Federalist Papers, Founding Fathers, and here he goes with Madison. As Madison expressed it, you guys are going to want this one, especially you county officials or city officials. The local or municipal authorities form distinct and independent portions of the supremacy. Joe, there's your supremacy clause. Who forms part of it? Counties and cities. Distinct and independent portions of the supremacy. Wow. You mean the federal government, it doesn't get all the supremacy? The supremacy clause didn't give it all to them? Distinct and independent portions of the supremacy belong to local or municipal authorities, counties and cities. And with that supremacy, they erect the barriers against the encroachments of the national authority. It's a great system. The Founding Fathers knew what they were doing. It's a balance, it's a system of balance and checks all the way through. The ultimate check and balance in this particular case is the state. It's the counties, it's the cities, and it's we the people. Okay? All right. Now, as if you needed more ammunition, Scalia gives us a little more, okay? I want you to see this one too. This separation of the two spheres. Now he's talking about what he was just saying back here. Madison talked about the sphere of authority, the spheres, talking about the federal and state spheres of authority. That within their jurisdiction, no more subject within their respective spheres to the general authority than the general authority is subject to them within its own sphere. We're no more subject to them than they are to us when we're in our proper sphere. Don't forget that Article 1, Section 8 tells you what their sphere is. Specifically, their sphere is small, meaningless, and impotent. Yeah. So, now, speaking of impotent, you remember I sued Bill Clinton, right? Okay, don't forget that part. Now remember, of all the people that sued Bill Clinton, I was the only one to do so on a non-sexual matter. Yeah, it's a true story. Yeah.
You're also the only guy that's still alive.
Yeah, I had to live to tell about it. Yeah. Miracle, I'm not on that list of 116 people that just disappeared. Yeah. Okay, so again, more ammo. That little book. Okay, everybody raise your little book, okay? Okay, that book cost me about, I get this printed at MC in Provo, MC Printing. Costs about 50 cents per, because I usually can't afford too many at a time. And right now they're on real huge special, and we just gave you this for free anyway. But you want me to tell you how much that's worth? $400,000. Now I'm going to ask you to leave your portion before you leave here tonight. It's only $400,000. It's yours. It's my gift to you. Okay, you can keep the $400,000. Okay. What I want you to do is make sure you pass it, you pay it forward, pass it on. Make sure other people know and understand about this, so that we do what? We make sure that we're erecting the barriers. Because so many city councils don't get this, do they? You city councilmen that are here, they don't get it. They will actually say it's not their job to uphold and defend the Constitution. And yet they swore an oath to do that. They'll say it's not their job. Amazing. It's not their job to stand for liberty. Whose job is it then? Don't swear to do it if you're not going to do it. Okay? Now, let's get back here. This separation of the two spheres, remember the two spheres of authority, state and federal, is one of the Constitution's structural protections of liberty. Can it get any clearer, my dear friends? Structural protection of liberty is what? State sovereignty. The separation of powers between the two. And boy, it's not there anymore, is it? Let's keep going. Just as the separation and independence of the coordinate branches of the federal government serve to prevent the accumulation of excessive power in any one branch, here's the solution, folks, to whatever you want. Was your key issue for being here tonight? A healthy balance of power between the states and the federal government will reduce the risk of tyranny and abuse from either front. What? Scalia just gave us the solution. He gave us the solution. A healthy balance of power between the states and the federal government will reduce the risk of tyranny and abuse from either front. Did the Founding Fathers worry about abuse and tyranny? That's why they made the Constitution, was to stop that. Who's going to uphold and defend that document is the question. We sure pray we are. So, let me ask you, here's that question again. Do we have that healthy balance of power between the states and the federal government today? It's kind of a joke, isn't it? Because we have acquiesced, we have gone along with the propaganda schemes, and we have gone along with the money laundering and bribery schemes of Washington, D.C. We allow them to come into Utah and steal the money, take it back to Washington, make all these big, huge bureaucracies, and then for education, they'll send us back $5.50, and we grovel like a bunch of hungry peasant beggars to get it. Oh, please take care of our education system here. You know what? We're a bunch of hicks and dummies in Arizona, and that's where I live right now. I used to live in Utah. I lived here about 17 years. But I'll tell you one thing. We can run our own education and the Grand Canyon without the federal government. I promise you. I promise. Okay.